8 years ago, I uploaded 2 parts of the video touring the computers I owned. Well, time has been flying fast and there are a couple of computers I own which most are still in my hands. Others are no longer on my hands since I made a video. I have not uploaded much since then due to lack of ideas and I have a lot of issues with a video editor that I use. And that is Vegas Pro, my ultimate nemesis. Hence my very beautiful upload schedule. Now that I have resurrected from the dead for how many times? I lost count. So today is the day where I finally must update the video that I made in the past. Hey guys, TheTechOtaku here. 8 whole years since the last tour video. It used to have 2 desktops and 4 laptops in one video footage since part 1. But I have 5 since then. And now, it grows to 9 laptops and only 1 desktop. Well, technically, there's 7 laptops in the single footage that you're seeing right now. But I still have my Travelmate 220. We don't count the old MacBook Air because it's done for. Without wasting any more time, let's get right to it! First computer I own is my main laptop, the Lenovo Legion 5 15ARH05, aka Legion 5 Gen 5. I went through a couple of my main laptops in the past since that video was made. I switched to Asus A55VJ laptop after I slapped a 14-inch panel on it and upgraded to an SSD. But after it gave me power issues that would deteriorate me from daily driving, I switched to this monstrosity of a tape-up laptop, which is the Acer Aspire V5-431P. I remember that cringe-looking taped-up laptop. But unfortunately, I let that Acer laptop go to my friends' hands during my college times. Now I finally have a proper laptop to daily drive and I used it for 3 years. I absolutely love using it though. I really regret buying it with a 1650 rather than waiting for the 1660 Ti configuration. Worst timing to buy a laptop, my god. But that's okay, at least it holds up after 4 whole years. It does have reasonable amount of I/O including 5 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, 2 of which are Type A, 1 Type C on the back, and 1 Type A on each side. I love having rear mounted I/O, which is a key for a clean laptop setup. I already done a review video of my Legion 5 about a year ago, icon on the top right. But I have 4 issues that I encountered this year. First off, the power LED. The blue LED for the quiet mode kinda died, and the white LED is getting yellowed, but otherwise, switching between modes still work just fine. Okay, there's one more issue that requires my attention. Listen to this.
Sora, 晴れ渡るです。私は真っ白。西が丘、真っ白だよ。
Oh god, the speaker sounded worse than before. Oh my god.
It definitely didn't survive the clear sounding Nijigaoka. And that is because the left speaker has gone bad due to the rubber surround being disintegrated. I will replace it later, but for now, I mostly used headphones all the time to listen to stuff. Another issue is that there is one crack on the palm rest where the left hinge is due to the pressure of contents in my bag, which happened during my trip to Penang way back then. I probably forgot. Also, another issue is that a single tiny end got into my panel, which triggers my OCD and ended up destroying the bezel in the process just to get to the screen. Despite that, my Legion 5 has been a great laptop for me. It runs Windows 11 Pro beautifully, but it's a little slow to boot because I used Kingston SSD and I disabled hybrid boot because of the exterior drive that I use for storage doesn't play nicely with it. 2TB SSD for storage will happen at a later date. And some games I play do run really well. So that's about it for my Lenovo Legion 5 laptop. Well, you think both PCs from the past are gone, right? Well, out with the ancient Pentium 4 machines, in with the formidable and reasonably usable PC inside the cheap case. This, my friends, is the big speaker! That is not a speaker. You're right. But the quick origin behind this is by this person, aka one of my Discord buddies. Hence the name, the big speaker. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's look at this formidable decade-old platform that still runs and can game reasonably well. That this might be the potential candidate for the upcoming Hoyoverse game called Zenless Zone Zero. Oh, wait. The game is already out for God knows how long. Oopsie me. The case that I use for this build is AVF MX4000, which I don't recommend going for. Why? Cable management nightmare if you don't use a modular power supply. But then again, this case is one of the reasons it has the big speaker character to it. However, in order to keep the character of the big speaker, there is a case that does look like a proper speaker, which one of my buddies over Bocchi the Rock Discord server showed me earlier. And this is the VSP X09. I feel like I wanna get it, but unfortunately, it's only available in Vietnam. Getting any other cases for it would lose the character by a lot, so I'll stick with it until I get my hands on with Vietnamese exclusive speaker looking PC case in the future. On the front of the case, massive mesh! And down there we have AVF logo, and I did put the second or third gen Intel Core i5 sticker and the same AMD Radeon graphics sticker that I had on my Legion 5 because it has an AMD GPU inside. Yup, I love stickers. On the sides, nothing particularly interesting except some stickers I put on. On top we have a power button, indicator lights, reset button, two USB 2.0 ports, audio ports, and a USB 3.0 port. On the back, the I/O is nothing spectacular. Back here we have power socket for the PSU, two PS2 ports, two USB 2.0 ports, two USB 3.0 ports, an HDMI port, a VGA port, another two USB 2.0 ports, which for some reason it doesn't work sometimes, an Ethernet port, and three audio ports on the motherboard. On the GPU, we have three display 1.4 ports and an HDMI port. I have Oracle USB 3.0 card with quintuplet USB 3.0 ports, which is far more overkill, and there are two more USB 2.0 ports just to cover the bottom slot. That is a lot of I/O, and it's 16 ports in total. Why do you need so much ports? Sebab boleh, dek. Sorry for Malay, but let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of the big speaker. Oh yeah, I did add some Easter eggs on the cardboard. From Licorice Recoil reference, one of Genshin voice line saying, and of course, the TechOtaku has been in here. It was me who's been in here. Oh yeah, there's another kanji writing, but this time it says Hanasato Minori. And yep, I'm her Oshi. Plus, there's my scuff drawing of Yue Gui, which is Yao Yao's Adeptus bunny companion from Genshin Impact, who eats the vegetables at baddies. And yes, Yue Gui was created by Shan Yun the Burp. Sorry, that's Cloud Retainer. Why don't I mention the name of her human form?
Please help me.
On the bottom left here, yup, Free Palestine, remember that. Enough with the Easter eggs and have a look at the inside. Power supply wise, I have a Cooler Master MWE 550 Bronze V2 230V, which is not the greatest 550 watt power supply on the market, but it should suffice well and handle my GPU reasonably well. And my gosh, that is a tight space, and cable management is definitely abysmal. I told you earlier about that. Here I have my SSD, or should I say, two SSDs mounted to the double brackets. And for the boot drive, it's a second-hand 256GB Crucial MX100 SSD, which costs a lot back in 2014 if I recall right. Above that is the WD Green 1TB SSD that I use to store games. Below the graphics card is a 500GB Toshiba hard drive, which I almost forgot to mention as I'm editing this video. Motherboard is the MSI B75MA-E33, which is semi-faulty due to a finicky USB 3.0 controller, which could be the reason why the bottom USB 2.0 ports are really not working. Not sure why that's the issue, but I'll be getting a new platform soon enough so I can finally ditch my USB 3.0 card, unless I have a board with a built-in Wi-Fi. Under the Cooler Master i70C air cooler, the brains of the big speaker is literally the hollow skull in the modern world. The Intel Core i5-3570. It's an Ivy Bridge quad-core CPU without hyper-threading, which sounds really stinks on paper, but apparently it wasn't that bad, so I can simply sell it after getting a new platform. It's usable for only basic tasks. Of course, this PC has mismatched sticks. One 8GB HyperX Fury stick and one 4GB HP part stick, giving it a total of 12GB of DDR3 RAM. Graphics card on the other hand is the AMD Radeon RX 580, but not just an RX 580, but this is an AMD Radeon RX 580 2048 SP, which they quietly launched back in 2018. I already explained the difference between the two on the Big Speaker GPU upgrade video. Card on the top right to watch if you missed it. The 580 2048 SP is what makes most people think that it's gonna be an RX 570 pretty much. But that's okay, because what I'm hoping is the better performer than the RX 460 that I still have on my hands. No, I should have waited a year later because I have buyer's remorse when I bought the 460. In the previous videos of the Big Speaker, it had Windows 10 Pro previously and then upgraded to Windows 11 Pro with some workarounds done to it. And now, this PC is running Windows 11 IoT Enterprise 24H2. But what the heck is this version of Windows? Well, here's a quick rundown. Windows 10 and 11 Enterprise do come with different SKUs for specific things. The normal Enterprise, Enterprise LTSC, IoT Enterprise, and IoT Enterprise LTSC. If you're curious on what the hell IoT Enterprise is, it's the Windows SKU that is designed for fixed-purpose devices including ATMs, point-of-sale terminals, thin clients, etc. But what is LTSC? It stands for Long-Term Servicing Channel, which provides up to 10 years of life cycle and isn't strict with system requirements compared with normal Windows 11 versions. Should I make a video of Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC? Let me know in the comments down below. With the Big Speaker finally become a proper gaming rig, while it wasn't modern by today's standard, this machine is gonna serve its purpose of being a gamer machine during my spare time. This PC is hella capable for Hoyo games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and even Zenless Zone Zero. As for Wuthering Waves, the first two versions have issues, making me switch to my laptop for that. And it's still playable, but it struggles to catch up. So that's about it for the lesser piece of a gamer machine known as the Big Speaker. And this here is my Asus A55VJ laptop that used to look like this, and now it looks like this. Honestly, the true use of this machine is to serve as a media PC that is powerful enough to consume media content. I ain't needing an Astro decoder or sub into Netflix when I can just chill and watch YouTube videos, like watching Matt Armstrong. Wait, this sounds wrong. Okay, the media PC has been barely used since then because my TV has been a tsundere, and the culprit is going to be an HDMI chip that is starting to go bad, and I need a new TV for that. Unfortunately, not right now. This used to be my main laptop and it has been going through a lot since then, like running inside a build of Windows 10 before it came out in 2015 and torturing it out of rage with my fingers because of a slow mechanical hard drive as a boot drive that really bogged the system down. Seriously. Hard drive as a boot drive is a huge mistake. It came with Windows 8 single language out of the box, but it officially can go up to Windows 10 Home single language. Because this is my media PC, the more appropriate operating system to stick with is Windows 7 because of Windows Media Center. On to the tour. On the right side we have two audio jacks, a USB 2.0 port, an optical drive which is now occupied by a second hard drive for media storage, and a Kensington lock slot. On the left is the power port, an exhaust vent, a VGA port, an HDMI port, an Ethernet port which the flap has gone missing, and two USB 3.0 ports. On the front we have indicator lights and an SD card reader. Pretty nice for content creators, but why modern laptops don't have one? Well, most of it. On the back, there's nothing except with the battery slot, which is no longer the slot for the battery because it's occupied by wireless antenna, and of course the power button because I use it this way. Inside the machine, we have an Intel Core i5-3210M CPU clocked at 2.5GHz dual core with hyper-threading, 6GB of DDR3 RAM, NVIDIA GeForce GT635M discrete GPU with 2GB of VRAM, Kingston V300 120GB SSD, along with 500GB HGSD media storage drive, and unsurprisingly, it runs Windows 7 Ultimate Service Pack 1. But why did I change back to a 500GB? Well, after an SSD misadventure video, the 1TB hard drive started to fail on me 2 weeks later and I'm able to back up most of it, so I told you that second-hand hard drives are a gamble and most likely a ticking time bomb for failures. For media PC, it can handle 1080p 60 frames per second video pretty well, and I can watch anime if so desired, or any media that I want to watch. So, that's gonna be about it for my media PC, and I may consider trying different things for media PC in the future, or just stick with Windows as is. That's all for my media PC, and I will use it again once I get a new TV for it. Ah yes, the classic compact laptop from Windows Vista era. If you're an OG viewer of TheTechOtaku, congratulations, you're the MVP! Anyway, this is the compact Presario V3000 that I got for free from my Malay teacher back in high school. This laptop definitely shows my absolute sentimental value because of how nuggety yet very memorable this laptop really is. I even took this laptop to college as well. Like, it's really impractical by today's standard of portability because it's sick. This laptop was featured in the original video, and oh boy, anime songs, it's a recipe for copyright Torino. Well, most of it. Jokes aside, this laptop is like a trip to memory lane, back when this channel evolves from a cringy above box closing style operating system videos onto making proper tech videos now. Okay, onto the tour. On the left side, we have S-Video port, a VGA port, a proprietary dock connector, an Ethernet port, a USB port, Vaio port, an SD card slot, and an expansion card slot, which still has the cover for it. How nice. On the front, we have status LEDs for power, hard drive, and charging. We also get a wireless switch, an IR blaster for the remote input, and 2 audio jacks, 1 mic, and 1 line out. On the right side, we have a Kensington lock slot, a power port, and the power LED surrounding the port to indicate if it's plugged in. We also have a modem, 2 USB ports, and a DVD drive. On the back, nothing except for the rear vents. Display on the other hand is the 14.1-inch CCFL panel, which I did replace the glossy panel with the matte panel from the Acer Aspire 3620 by myself because glossy screens are actually bothersome. There is no webcam on this model, but certain laptops from Vista era have a webcam. Correct me if I'm wrong though. On the palm rest, we have a power button and touch-sensitive keys to adjust the volume, and I still have no idea what the Q button means. Plus, there's Altec Lansing speakers which ended up sounding average. Below that is a keyboard which feels much better than chiclet keyboards in general. I'm biased, don't mind me about that. And there's a touchpad below it with 2 physical buttons. Also, you can disable the touchpad by pressing this button above it, and the indicator will turn orange, which indicates that it's disabled. Pressing it again enables the touchpad. Very accessible compared with function keys method. The heart of this compact, there are some changes to this machine from the previous tour. I upgraded from Intel Pentium T2080 to an Intel Core Duo T2300E, which came from the Dell laptop that I accidentally killed. RAM is now 3GB of DDR2, and that is about it. Not much changes, but it has certain problems which I need to solve, but I haven't got a time for that. First things first, the CMOS battery is dead, and after years, I don't have much time to replace the CMOS battery yet. Second of all, I have to put a 160GB WD Blue drive that has bad sectors which is in urge of dying, but yeah, a later time, I will replace the drive to a second-hand hard drive, or brand new second-hand if you watch Matt Armstrong. Third of all, the bottom right side is not secured properly due to presumably the broken thread or broken insert, and I had to tape it with clear tape. It's all fine and dandy until adhesive becomes less sticky in time and has gotten some debris to it. Nothing much to say about the laptop, but my compact Presario V3000 is going to stay for years to come because of how sentimental value it is to me. That's all for the beloved nostalgia laptop that OG TheTechOtaku viewers know about it. Next up is the Windows XP era laptop from 2006, months before Vista came out. This is the Acer Aspire 3620, and you notice that it looks different. I wrapped it in carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
I meant to say carbon fiber, which makes the laptop looking fresh again. Yeah, I should have painted it, but I'm a lazy dumbass. On to the tour. On the left side, we have a Kensington lock slot, a DVD-ROM drive, and an express card slot. On the front, we have switches for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, dual speakers, triple audio jacks, and the indicator lights for power and charging. And there is a latch to open the lid of the laptop above it. On the right side, triple USB ports, an exhaust fan, a modem port, and an Ethernet port. On the back, we have a power port, a VGA port, and a slot for the battery. What's really nice about this laptop is that you get two covers on the bottom for easy access. One for the hard drive, and the other is for the RAM and Wi-Fi card. Damn, I miss those times. Looking at the screen, there's a 14.1-inch matte panel, but it has some vertical lines that appears on the left. On the palm rest, there's a power button, shortcut keys, and a microphone. Keyboard has some signs of wear and tear, but the typeface is not fading out, which is surprising. Same story applies to the touchpad below it. I already made a video of the Acer Aspire 3620, card on the top right or in the description. So that's about it for the Windows XP era laptop that is going to become a showpiece in the future. And moving on to the original media PC before making a video about it. This is the Sony Vaio E11, model SPE11135CVW. There's two plans for it earlier, make it a server or a media PC. It was originally a media PC before and it did not work out because it struggles so hard in the modern web. I'll tell you the specs after going through the tour. On the left side, we have power port, a VGA port, an HDMI port, an exhaust fan, two USB-A ports, one is 2.0 and other being 3.0, and on the front, nothing except with indicator lights and speakers on the bottom side. On the right side, we have two audio jacks, a USB 2.0 port, a Kensington lock, an SD card reader, and an Ethernet port. On the back, nothing except with the battery slot. On the palm rest, no keyboard on mine cause I took it out. Above the keyboard, there's 3 buttons for Vaio related things, and a power button. Getting to the BIOS is weird on this particular Vaio laptop, or should I say, 2010 era Sony Vaio laptops. In order to get access to the BIOS is that you have to hold the assist button while the computer is off, and once you get to the Vaio care menu, you have to navigate to the setup and you're in the inside BIOS. Oh boy. This machine is still working, just that it needs some RAM, although it's very finicky on what type of RAM it needs. But I don't think this machine is worth using nowadays because of how slow the APU is. So let me tell you about the specs. So it has an AMD E2 2000 APU, it doesn't have a RAM, it doesn't have a hard drive, and of course, it used to have 11.6 inch panel before I took it out because the casing is definitely seen better days. It has screw inserts snapped off. Probably running Linux on this Halftop would have made sense, but unfortunately, I'm just a scrubby and I don't know how to set up a Linux server. That's the Sony Vaio E11 Halftop, nothing much to show. Carry on with the netbooks. You may recognize this netbook from the past TheTechOtaku videos. This is the Lenovo IdeaPad S10-3 netbook that I've had for around a decade, and it's an absolutely the slowest bag of shit I've ever used. And you all know that if you ever used a netbook before. For Gen Alphas out here, you probably don't know this. If you're an OG viewer of the TheTechOtaku, you're already familiar with this netbook since it's featured in the past videos, especially running Windows 10 19 H1 preview, the past computer duo video. Y'all already know that. On to the tour. On the left side, we have a VGA port, a power port, a USB port, a cooling vent, a Wi-Fi switch, and an SD card slot. On front, there's 4 indicator lights for power, charging, hard drive, and Wi-Fi. On the right side, we have 2 audio jacks, 2 USB ports, an Ethernet port, and on the corner, there's a slot for lanyard. On the back, nothing except that you can slot the battery in. Opening up the laptop, there's a webcam above the display, a power button, and power LED on the left side. And of course, a Novo button and a QS button on the right side. The panel here is the 10.1-inch 1024x600 display, but unfortunately that panel has suffered a syndrome since the original video, as a Vietnamese friend that I know from Bocchi's Discord server likes to call it, a Photo TV syndrome. Sadly, after the attempts of getting the display look normal, it already gave up the ghost as there's a big white bar on the left side now, so yeah, it already gave up the ghost and it's not worth restoring it because of how slow the netbook is. But it's a sentimental value to display in my shelf if I've ever owned a shelf with that. Keyboard felt nice to type on, albeit semi-functional. Touchpad is really small.
Why is he so small?
And it definitely seen better days. This netbook has an Intel Atom N470 CPU, which is a single core chip with 2 threads, 2GB of DDR2 RAM, which is the maximum amount it supports, and no hard drive because I have no plans to use it in the future. Because it's such a sentimental value, I would never ever sell this. But maybe I'll put that to use again as a server. Only time will tell when. So that's about it for the Lenovo IdeaPad S10-3, and now let's carry on with the next netbook, which ended up looks like this. This is the Lenovo IdeaPad S10-2 Halftop, which I got for free back in 2017 in a very horrible condition, and it unfortunately had a cracked screen. It used to look like this, but now it looks like this.
Very red.
I use this as a netbook NAS, which I rarely use because the hard drive is too small for it, and I ain't rich for a new drive and a new enclosure, and it runs Windows, which is not ideal for NAS. Now let's have a look at the Halftop. On the left side, there's an Ethernet port, a vent, which I did put some mesh on it to make a bit nicer, a VGA port, a USB port, and 2 audio jacks. On the front, there's an SD card slot and the indicator lights up above. On the right side, there's a wireless switch, 2 USB ports, a capacitor lock, and a power port. On the back, we have a battery slot which got blocked off by the Wi-Fi antennas. On the bottom, we have 2 glory holes. Oh, okay, I gotta stop that. 2 access covers for the hard drive, which in this case, it has a 120GB Toshiba hard drive as a boot drive, a PCIe wireless card, and of course, an upgradable RAM. Unfortunately, just like my S10-3 netbook and all the 2010 era netbooks in general, this is limited to only 2GB of RAM. This netbook Halftop is still running Windows 7 because, yeah, it's the only fastest operating system I have on hand, and running Windows 10 on it would be extremely abysmal. Please suggest me a 32-bit Linux distro that can be set up as a server and easy to use for a Linux scrub like me. I'll be happy to try out. People will say,
Why 32-bit?
it's because this netbook has an Intel Atom N280 CPU which doesn't support 64-bit. There is another problem. There is no CMOS battery on this laptop and it's hardwired to the motherboard, which is stupid if you want to replace the battery only to find out it was soldered. Why, Lenovo? Otherwise, the IdeaPad S10-2 Halftop doesn't seem to have much use anymore, so yeah. And there we have it. The Halftop that I used as a server, which unfortunately no longer has its use until I restore it. God, that is a lot to show. This will end up being a long video if I compile everything into one, so yeah. It already is a long video, so hope you guys enjoy it regardless. I still have some laptops which I don't want to show again for reasons. With that, this is going to be a wrap up for the tour of my computers I own after 8 years since the original video. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and smash the bell icon for more content just like this one. If you really want to support me, there's a link for Ko-fi and Patreon at the links in the description. So, I'll catch you all in the next video. TheTechOtaku signing out. My Minori Neso says, see you in 2025.